I'm making a list and checking it twice. And if I play my cards right, everybody on my list is naughty. Hello, Champagne Dreamers. Welcome back to my channel. Or if you're new here, I don't know how you found me, but welcome. Please stick around, hit that subscribe button down below, and join the fam. My name is Janessa, and I am North Dakota's trash queen of glam, geek, and gore. And for today's video, the world is on fire. Let's just do a fun, sexy, quirky kind of video. We are going to be doing my celeb hall pass. So if you're excited for that, then stick around because we're getting into it right now.
It won't go away. I've got that feeling rushing through my body. I know that it is here to stay. It's like you're my personal Illuminati. I know that some might say that I am just a bad girl, but if you treat me right, I will be the best girl in this whole world. No, I'm not gonna fight. I got my hands on your body.
That's right. Now let's be clear to start this off. I am single and ready to mingle. So I am a sexy time agent of chaos. I can sleep with whoever I want. I absolutely believe all these people who want to get mad at like the other woman didn't make any promises to you. She doesn't owe anybody anything. If she's single, she can fuck whoever she wants, or he or they. If somebody is single, they are a rogue agent. And so, you know what? It's just one of those things where that person is not to blame. But the problem is that people don't really want to get that mad at the person they're with because they're conflicted, they love them, so let's focus it all on the other person. Get the fuck out of here with that. I don't have time for that. It's ridiculous. So I am a sexy time agent of chaos, but if that were to change, I do have my celeb hall pass list of my top 10 celebrities that if I had the chance, I could have a little sexy time with them and they couldn't get mad. And of course, my partner would get to have their hall pass list. For me, it's very hard to narrow it down to 10. A lot of these could change from day to day if I watch the right movie on Netflix. So we'll talk about some of the alternates first, and then we'll get into my list. The only ones that are for sure like set in stone are 1 and 2. Everybody else is up to change. It's up to movement. It's up to swapping in and out with other people. So she's a goer, our girl. That's all I'll say. So we have some classics, some very beautiful Hollywood men that we love that are on my alternates list. Like, they're sexy. In our single state, we wouldn't think twice about it, but the celeb hall pass list, they kind of swap in and out from time to time, but these are currently the alternates. Like Chris Hemsworth. Oh, I love me some Chris Hemsworth. He was one of the best parts of the all-female Ghostbusters. Controversial yet brave. I like the female Ghostbusters better than the original, so leave your nerd rage down in the comments. I'll take the engagement. But I love Chris Hemsworth. Young and the Restless's Josh Morrow. Oh, Nick Newman. And also like Sean Dominic. And now they're bringing on his half-brother. And the guy who played the fake Damien, Holden, I don't know that actor's name. He's fairly new and I haven't seen it pop up, but he's gorgeous. The new Damien is kind of gorgeous. So there's a lot to choose from on Young and the Restless as well. I did do a video where I talked about the 10 hottest hunks on Days of Our Lives. You can check that out here if you'd like, and you may see 1 or 2 of those hunks showing up on this list as well. But now Young and the Restless has expanded my beautiful men repository. So I love Josh Morrow and Sean Dominic. Oh, so many good options. Niall Horan. Oh, he's a little bit too young for me. Oh, I love an Irish accent. I love an Irish accent. I was at a meeting at work, and I work for a company that has people all over the world. And there was somebody on this call, and I'm so glad we were not on camera, because he had this beautiful Irish accent and I was already like lulled into a stupor. And then he said like one of the most Irish things I've ever heard. Like, I love the sort of like expressions and the little like sayings. And he said, fair play to him. And I was like, oh. And I was like, oh, I'm swooning. I'm glad I'm not on camera. It was so fun. But so Niall Horan, just for that accent, and he could sing to me right in my ear. Like, we love him. I mean, basically every man from Crazy Rich Asians, except for Bernard Tai. That guy was so annoying. He seems really nice. I've watched his stand-up and he's really funny. But that character, I can't get it out of my head. But that movie was there to remind people that Asian men are sexy. Like, that's not a question. That's a statement. And all of the, like, main men in Crazy Rich Asians, gorgeous. They're all on the alternates list. And then, of course, a couple of standbys. Paul Rudd was so close to making the list. I love Paul Rudd. He's got a painting in an attic somewhere because he just refuses to age, and he's gorgeous. I loved him in Clueless, and I've loved him ever since. Oh, and then Zac Efron. Who knew? That little squid-headed punk in High School Musical, I never thought he was attractive. And then he evolved into daddy. I don't know what happened, but he's gone through several gorgeous phases. I never thought he was cute when he was younger, we had that bleach blonde phase and the beard when he did that like nature documentary. Oh, Jesus. I'd go camping with him. And so there's lots of people that could be swapped in. Like I said, except for 1 and 2, those are pretty much set. Other people could be swapped in, but this is my current 10. This is who I'm loving right now. Number 10, our babies would be enormous, like monsters. I love Christopher Hivgen. I don't know how to say it. I think he's Scandinavian. He was Tormund in Game of Thrones. And I don't always like a fire crotch. I don't always love the red hair. But there's something about him that I find so sexy. And when he was after Brienne of Tarth, and I'm like, I'm a big solid girl like Brienne. He could come after me. We could have monster babies. Oh, I just think he's so hot. And recently they had put him in some like lawn care commercials or like grass seed commercials. And it was like, feed your lawn. Feed it. And there was something about it that I was just like, this is making me feel naughty in my nethers. I don't know why. This lawn care commercial is like doing it for me, but it was doing it for me. We love him, Tormund. Our babies would be enormous like monsters. I love it. I love that he's so into Brienne. I'm so sad she kept going after fucking Jaime Lannister. She should have hopped on that red-headed wildling and ridden it all the way down to King's Landing. It was such a waste to have her going after Jaime Lannister. Number 9 is Jon Hamm. And there's something about him that I find perennially attractive because he always plays these like complete douchebag fuckboy parts like in Bridesmaids. That guy that is so terrible for you and is just like absolutely the worst, but then he's like a great lay. That's how I feel about Jon Hamm. He seems like he's probably a nice guy, and people in interviews have said that he's kind of a nice guy, but he always plays that kind of toxic douchebag fuckboy kind of guy, and there's something about that energy that I just like. That's my particular radar. If I see a man and I'm like, ooh, he's gorgeous, I'm like, what's wrong with him? What, he is an asshole. He clearly is a terrible person because I'm attracted to him. That's how it usually is. So Jon Hamm, when he plays those fuckboy roles, in Bridesmaids, that guy is so terrible. And I have been Kristen Wiig so many times. So I love me some Jon Hamm. Put some honey on that ham. Number 8 is Ncuti Gatwa. I love him. He's been in a lot of stuff. He was a Ken in the Barbie movie, but I especially love him as Doctor Who. He's the newest incarnation of Doctor Who. And I love it because he's just got that smile that is like, it's so like big and radiant, but also just seems like there's something naughty behind it. Like it looks like he's smiling about something that's maybe a little bit inappropriate. I love it. I love that he's queer-coded. I don't know that he's ever like really said anything specific about his sexuality or his gender identity. Not that I'm aware of, But definitely some queer coding, and they've worked a little bit of that, it seems, into Doctor Who, which I'm enjoying. So I just think he's gorgeous. I love watching him in Doctor Who. I think he's one of my favorite Doctor Who's. Christopher Eccleston will always be my favorite Doctor Who because he was my first Doctor. I watched it with the new series. I never watched any of the classic. As a kid growing up, sometimes if I was up after Saturday Night Live, there would be a channel that had Doctor Who on, and sometimes I would just sort of watch it. But I was never a Doctor Who fan until the new series. And Christopher Eccleston is my favorite, but Ncuti Gatwa's the hottest. Number 7. Let's hope he's not faster than a speeding bullet. I love Henry Cavill. He is my Superman forever. He's got that look. He is so gorgeous. I absolutely love him. And then I saw a picture of him with his brothers, and I was just like, that's just not fair. It's just not fair to have like 4 of these like beautiful hot men in one family. Like, that's cheating at the genetic lottery. It's just not okay. So I love me some Henry Cavill, and he's big and muscly, and there was some video or TikTok or something, I don't know what the genesis was, but it was all these like horny twinks that were reposting it, where he was doing something where he was like, good boy, and I was like, oh yes sir. Oh, it's so good. He's so gorgeous, and he can be so sexy. I absolutely love it. Let's have a pause for a moment, because another person that needs to go into the alternates list is Brendan Lee Mulligan. I forget, I've watched a few videos of him with the Dungeons and Drag Queens, which I think is so funny. I might go back and watch the first series of that and then try to watch the new one as well. But he was on some comedy show where they do these little skits where they give them a prompt and they have to kind of act it out. And his was a Dom DM. And he looks like a little nerd, but then he was like, get on your knees. And it was just like, like he was so sexy. And so he's on the alternate list. He might sneak onto this list at some point, but I had to put that because when I was thinking about that video of Henry Cavill, I was like, oh, the 2.0 version of that is Brendan Lee Mulligan. In the number 6 spot, Creepy Paper. I love Nandor. Oh, he is so hot. Kayvon Novak, I just think he's so sexy. And I love him as Nandor. And I've seen other pictures where he's more muscly and like more kind of taut and put together. I like him when he's a little bit fuller. I like that Nandor. He could conquer my Transylvanian village anytime. I think he is so gorgeous. I love that show. That show is so funny. Matt Berry is also very cute. I like him as well. But I just like that character of Nandor. And there's something like weirdly sexy where he's just kind of like a big dumb fuckboy. Like, Matt Berry's character is too smart to be on this list. Because I like boys who are hot, but I don't necessarily want them to be really smart. That's my own toxic trait. I like them a little bit dumb. I can't help it. The heart wants what it wants. In the number 5 spot, Wakanda Forever. Now, I'm not into necrophilia. Chadwick Boseman, may he rest in peace, was a beautiful man, but I am talking about Michael B. Jordan, Killmonger. They kept having him shirtless in those scenes with all those like marks that he had put on his body, the like scarification. And there was something about him that was just hot. I like a bad boy. Again, my taste in men is tragic. That is why I am happily divorced, happily single. Sometimes they're fun to play with, but then send them on their way. We don't need to keep them around because I have terrible taste in men. And if I keep them around too long, they're going to be eating my fruit snacks and running up my credit. I don't need it. I don't need it at all. I love a bad boy. Killmonger is so hot. Oh, he's so hot in that movie. It's so good. And then I've seen him in other things, and he's still hot, but I have a special spot. There's something about superhero movies. I think because I loved comics as a kid, superhero movies are what often gets people onto this list. These are not the last superheroes that you're going to see on this list. But I love Michael B. Jordan. Now, speaking of that Days of Our Lives video that I mentioned earlier, if you watch that, you know that I love me the Scotty Hottie Paul Telfer. He is so hot. And oh, he's got that Scottish accent. Again, Scottish accents, Irish accents, they just do something to me. I love a beautiful accent. I love a French accent. Sometimes even a Southern drawl. Like, I just love that sound. I love something that doesn't just sound like my blaring donkey voice. So I love, like, a soft, beautiful accent. And Paul Telfer, that Scottish accent. And then, if you remember back to when they broke up the double wedding, when he was going to marry Gwen, and then Abigail, like, set everything in motion, and then Gwen told her, like, I killed your grandmother on purpose. Like, that was when the devil was still in Salem, and I was like, if Gwen Rizchek is doing a better job of being evil than the devil, we need to revisit what we're doing with these storylines. But Paul Telfer, when he found out that she had been, like, lying to him, he was, like, glowering, and I was just like, oh, I was just like, it's too much. It was too much. I had to take a moment. I had to, like, pause the episode. I had to go drink some water. I had to take a cold shower. I had to, like, go for a run, and I don't run anywhere. I had to step away for a moment. I just am at a loss for words. He's so beautiful. He's happily married. He's so wonderful and always, like, supporting his wife on Instagram. It's very beautiful. She's very talented. Carmen Cusack, who was in Carrie the musical and has been in a bunch of other musicals and has done her own music and stuff. He's so supportive of her. That's the worst part, is that because I'm so hot for him, I just want him to be a terrible man, and he just doesn't seem to be. He just isn't. And it's unfortunate because it would make it a lot easier that it's all just a fantasy. Number 3 is somebody who actually is from Grand Forks and is now in the big leagues. Alan Ritchson, of course, who is in Reacher. And he was naked a whole lot in that Teen Titans series. Teen Titans, that series, I thought it was really good. And it also had a lot of beautiful, beautiful men. Now, of course, with Nightwing, you gotta cast somebody with a gorgeous, juicy bubble butt. Because Nightwing in the comics, it's become this running gag where he's got just this beautiful, juicy ass. And the guy who plays him is absolutely perfect for that. But I loved, they had Hawk and Dove, and Hawk was Alan Ritchson. And he's just blonde and beautiful. He was in one of the Hunger Games movies, I think Catching Fire, where they brought back the old tributes. He was Glimmer, I think. Glimmer and Gloss were like a brother and sister pair. It's weird to have a boy named Glimmer, but I think that's what his name was. And he's just gorgeous. And I don't often go for blondie bears anymore. Now, when I was first coming out, I'm ashamed to say that I went for the blonde, preppy, asshole-looking guys. If you looked like you were a villain in an 80s movie, I was all up in your business. The, like, blonde, preppy, sweater tied around their shoulders asshole. Like, oh, I am horrified and embarrassed by that now. So I don't often fall for a little blondie bear, but Alan Ritchson, he's got it going on. And he's from Grand Forks, so there's a potential that he might come back to visit family, and I would find him somewhere in the wild. It's possible. He's married, and apparently also kind of weirdly religious, it sounds like, which doesn't bode well for this happening, but hope springs eternal. All right, now we are down to the last top 2 spots. These are the ones that are set in stone. These 2 will always be on my list. They are pretty much always in second and first place. Now, I do have to say, the person who was in number 2, Jason Momoa, and I love him. He's hot, and he just seems like a nice guy. He seems very sweet, and he's very, like, loose in his body. He's got that, like, surfer, like, oh, there's just something about him that is so hot. When he was Khal Drogo, he was hot. I just think he's gorgeous. Now, he did bump number 1 out for a while because when I was in Arizona, I had the opportunity to see Aquaman on IMAX. I mean, I was gay before, but that took me to a whole other level. It certainly reconfirmed any question that anybody might have had. Aquaman, like 40 foot tall on an IMAX, him in that like rubber suit. I just about flooded that theater, let me tell you. I flooded my basement. It was too much. It was too much. Oh my God, him on... So he had to go to number 1 for a while, and then it kind of wore off, and I still think he's sexy as Aquaman, but IMAX is a whole different experience. So he took the number 1 spot, but he's my absolute number 2. He is gorgeous. I just think he's fun, and he seems very sweet, and he's big and muscly, and when he did that travel show and he was in that little like traditional costume with his butt out, oh, he's just a beautiful man. And now he's divorced, so there's a chance. I don't know if he's seeing anybody. Nobody has to tell me. You can tell me in the comments, but just know you'll be breaking my heart, because now that he's single, maybe I am ready to settle down again. Maybe. Call me. And number 1, oh, I just think he's beautiful. I just look at his face. I don't know, there's something about his face. John Cena. Ah, there's something about him that I just lose my mind. There's something about him. Just his face and that grin. He's so goofy and silly, but like the combination of how like sweet and silly he is, but then you look at him and know he could just like choke you out. Like it takes my breath away. It's a little bit too much. There are times where, if you've ever watched those, I forget which magazine or whatever site puts it on, but they have people read thirst tweets. And so many of them are like weirdly violent, and some of the people are even like uncomfortable, or they're reading them and they're like, that's really violent. I don't want to do that to you. All this kind of stuff. And I will watch that and I'll be like, how do they even come up with that? Like, how is that what they write? And then I turn and I see John Cena, and my immediate reaction is, I would let him fuck me to death. There is no better way in this world to die than while having sex with John Cena. Like that, death is a dark thing. So I was like, if you have to go, that's the way to go. Like, are you kidding? I understand it. His face and body, when he was at the Oscars and he was part of that thing for the best costume, and he came out naked with the little envelope over his crotch, that's my phone wallpaper. So I love that somebody took it and they imposed the like support local drag. I thought that was really funny. But now I see a naked John Cena every time I open my phone. He seems like a nice guy. If you've seen the video, he did this like Make-A-Wish thing and they kind of surprised him. And like, he's like tearing up and I'm just like, oh, how can he be hot and a decent person again? I hate when that happens, because at least if my usual luck abides, I can at least be like, well, but he's probably a terrible person, except that he's clearly not. It's too much. It's too much. I just am so hot for John Cena. He's my number 1. He did get bumped down to number 2 for a little while when I had that Aquaman experience, but he's my number 1 now, tomorrow, probably forever. All right, that is the video. That's my celeb hall pass list. Let me know down in the comments below what you think. Is there anybody I missed? Any hotties that need to be on my list? Because remember that alternate list, I'm still single. So really anybody on this list is fair game right now, if the opportunity arose. I mean, I'm not like waiting outside in their bushes. Like we're not talking about that. We're talking about if the opportunity arose for a consensual adult experience. I'm right now open to anybody, but if I were in a relationship where I had to narrow it down to a hall pass list, and I don't understand people who do like one hall pass. I'm like, this buffet of beautiful men, how could I choose? How could I choose? I need to have 10, and they need to be interchangeable. I need, if the opportunity arises or my moods change, I need to be able to swap them in and out. So that is the video. Let me know down below what you thought of my list, what you think of these guys. Beautiful. I hope you enjoyed the eye candy in this video. Check out the Days of Our Lives video. Lots of hot men in there. Brandon Beamer is back on Days again. He was in the top of my countdown for Days. We love him. It was a lot of fun. Let me know while you're leaving that comment. Don't forget to give me that thumbs up to tell me that you appreciated the video and you just appreciated the physiques of these beautiful men. Just give them some love. And if you are just absolutely horrified that I am objectifying males in this way, because let's be real, Men have had it so hard in this world. And especially now, it's so hard for men. Then go ahead and give me that thumbs down. Go ahead. Just give it to me. Give it to me, Daddy. Give me that thumbs down. Because you know what? It's all engagement. The algorithm isn't a picky bitch, and neither am I. And while you're down there, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and hit the bell icon so you'll be notified about all future uploads. I try really hard to have at least one video a week, and I do try to spread it out between glam, geek, and gore, so there's a little bit of something for everyone. And if you're very lucky, you might even get a bonus video. Ooh. You can't see me, horrific. John Cena. We're destined to be together. If you'd like to chat, banter, or commiserate between uploads, all of my social media will be linked down in the description box below, including a link to my website, The World of Champagne, at janessaj.com. Thank you so much for watching. I love and appreciate all of you. I love and appreciate all of these beautiful men on this list. Obviously, there's so many other hot hunks we could have put on here as well. Your girl, she loves a beautiful man, so there's many options. Don't be mad, don't be butthurt if your favorite isn't here. You can make your own hall pass list. I can share. That's the hotness for now, and until I see you again, bye.
It's a goer. Go hard girl.
She's a goer.
A goer girl.
She's a goer. Our girl.
Goer, our. Okay.
Yep.
I couldn't. I was like, what word did she just say?
Because it was so. He was just like, oh, tell me the truth. I can't do that. Like, that was a terrible. Alan Richards got it going on. And so that's it. That's the hot. Ugh.